Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's another episode of the Spartan Shadows podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and I'm joined with one of my co hosts, Zach. Emmett unfortunately could not make it today. He is down in Indy covering the NFL Combine for Lions on SI. He also was
Yeah,
in West Lafayette last night covering the MSU basketball game at Purdue. So he's been all over the state of Indiana this week, and I think he's actually going to try to go Sunday too for the Indiana game.
makes sense.
Not confirmed, but anyways, Emmett's traveling around the country, so he did not make it for this one, but he will be back hopefully for the next one. It's been a couple weeks. We wanted to catch you up on the basketball news, hockey news. There hasn't really been a lot going on in the football world, so we figured we'd hop on and just update you where we're at with the other two sports. And hopefully you've been following along with some of the fun content we've been posting on socials about each individual game and stuff. Zach, thanks for
Yep,
joining me. How's everything going?
doing good. It's been a little while since we've done one of these. Been a little while since I've been on, so obviously glad that we were able to make this work. Michigan State basketball playing a little bit better recently, which obviously is making me smile. Hockey is doing really well. Big series for hockey this weekend as well, so doing really good. Hope you're doing well overall too.
Yep, doing all right. As I mentioned on the last episode, our schedules have been crazy. We apologize for the lack of episodes. Between that,
Yeah,
I've been having a few health issues. I'm also trying to buy a house. So outside of work and everyday life, it's been a little hectic and chaotic. So
agreed.
we promise we will be back to our more normal schedule as soon as we can. And with March Madness and postseason hockey and basketball coming up, we're definitely wanting to get you some good content for there. But to catch you up on what we've missed, let's start with the basketball team. I believe when Emmett and I were last on, we had just completed the Illinois game, which MSU squeaked out a winner in OT. Since then, they've played at Wisconsin, home against UCLA, home against Ohio State, and at Purdue yesterday. Tough loss on the road against Wisconsin. A final score on that was 92-71. Wisconsin came out of the gates absolutely firing on all cylinders, and that was just one of those where no matter what you did, you couldn't come back all the way there. Then they took it back home to UCLA. Big bounce back win. Obviously, UCLA not quite the same caliber as they've been before, but 82-59 there. And then we played Ohio State at home, a 66-60 win. And then last night, finally, 12 years in the making, getting the monkey off our back and beating Purdue at Mackey Arena.
Oh yeah.
76-74 was the final. Solid win, best road win by far this year, beating the number 8 team in the country on the road, and great win overall. Probably Carson Cooper's best game as a Spartan. Um,
Agreed.
Highlights all over the place from Cohen Carr dunks and Jeremy Fears playing out of his mind. Out of overall crazy game, but it was a good one.
Yeah.
So, Zach, what are your thoughts from those games, the takeaways? And Indiana up next on Sunday on the road, so we got another tough place to play coming up.
Exactly. And if you want to talk about four games that have memorable moments, I think those four games are exactly that. Like you talk about Wisconsin, you get blown out on the road. There's complete panic from the fan base. Things aren't really going well for Michigan State. Wisconsin had elite guard play in that one. It seemed like going into a Kohl Center hasn't really typically gone well for Michigan State, and it truly was bring up the question of like, can Michigan State win on the road in a true road environment? And that was really a question I was kind of going into. Obviously, the Purdue game, which obviously answered that a little bit. I'll kind of talk about that here shortly. Then you obviously have UCLA, right? Like the Mick Cronin moment after the game basically went viral, right? About it. And it was more about that than the actual game where Michigan State played very well. It's not really a good UCLA team, to be completely honest with you. But going into that Ohio State game, you're obviously a little bit more excited about that. You kind of knew it was going to be a home game. You knew that it was an Ohio State team that had been a little bit up and down throughout the year. I don't think it's the most exciting Ohio State, obviously, with Bruce Thornton. Really good game by him. And then you obviously have a little bit of moment afterwards where Tom Izzo's like, hey, we're going to have a team meeting and it's going to be the players. And it's like, oh no, like what is Michigan State doing? What is going on with Michigan State? And then obviously Michigan State decides to snap a 12-year losing streak at Mackey. So like what a 4 games of just moments of like insanity, but moments of like, what is going on? This doesn't make any sense. But You would not want to have it any other way. MSU's 3-1 in the last 4 games, especially coming off of basically, I think, losing 3 out of the last 5 games prior to this series. So lots of moments, lots of fun moments. Not all been on the court, but good results on the court nevertheless.
Absolutely, yeah. And you touched on it. I mean, Mick Cronin's moment. Mick Cronin's going to Mick Cronin. You always expect something from him
Oh
afterwards.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
that was a game. Xavier Booker's return to the Breslin. I was nice to see him kind of get some warm wishes. Obviously, his career here wasn't what everybody had hoped it would be. Same.
Agreed.
He'd say the same thing, but he still put in a lot of effort and a lot of time and hard work for this program, and it was good to see him get some flowers on his return.
Absolutely.
The Ohio State game, a little closer than I would have wanted it to be, but at this point, you take wins however you can get them. I'm not going to complain about a 6-point win. And then, last night's game against Purdue, really good basketball game. Actually, probably one of the better ones I think I've just watched from just an overall good game. But getting the win at Mackey for the first time since 2012, I'll take it. So, Indiana coming
House
up.
Of Horrors, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, Wisconsin's been kind of the similar, and hopefully maybe next year that'll be the team that can beat it if we play at Wisconsin next year. But Indiana, another tough play. Assembly Hall is not the easiest place to play. The Indiana team isn't quite the same as it's been. They've been kind of struggling a little bit this year too. But you never know going on the road in the Big Ten later in the season. It's always tough. So that game is Sunday at 3:45 Eastern. That'll be the third to last game in the regular season. After that, next Thursday we play at home against Rutgers, and then we close out next Sunday at Chrysler against Michigan. Still an outside chance potentially to maybe compete for a Big Ten title. Need Michigan to lose couple games here, and some other things to go our way. Obviously got to win out, but I think the more important thing the team's going to be focused on is keeping one of those top 4 seeds for the Big Ten tournament, which they are in now, and last night's win went a long way to help that cause. So yeah, we'll see. Michigan big game at Illinois tonight, so hopefully the Illini can come out on top there to help that cause. But yeah, it's been a fun kind of resurgence. You had some question marks, losing to Minnesota, losing to Wisconsin, obviously getting beat by Michigan pretty handily the first time. Typical mid-season kind of slump for MSU, it seems like. And so far, it looks like they may have righted the ship. We'll see how we end up here. But Big Ten tournament starts in a couple weeks, and then March Madness right around the corner, too. So it's getting to be that time of year.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not like Michigan State beat a Purdue team that played poorly at home. Like, that was a Purdue team that played very, very well. Asker Clough had a great game to start out. 10 points in the first half. You obviously had Trey Kaufman-Red had a decent game. Brian Smith had a pretty good game. Vassar Lawyer struggled, which actually historically against Michigan State has actually played pretty well. So I was kind of surprised about that, kind of glad about that, to be completely honest with you. Like you said, Carson Cooper had probably one of the best, if not the best game of his career. Kurt Tang was absolutely massive in that game. Cam Ward was absolutely massive. When Cam Ward got that rebound towards the end, I was screaming at the TV saying, give the ball to Jeremy Fears, because no offense, love Cam Ward. That guy has an insane amount of effort. His motor just continues to roll. But, I don't want a freshman that is shooting 46% in that situation. And I was almost like, I'm like, please just make it. Just make one. And then when he missed it, I'm like, this is the House of Horrors. I'm like, this is going to be the same old story where Michigan State's going to be right there at the end, and Michigan's going to get absolutely heartbroken. And when Braden Smith chucked up that 35-foot shot, there was still a moment where I'm like, that's going to go in. That's going to go in. That's going to be Michigan State. Obviously, great win. What a great game, though. Honestly, I think it's one of the best, if not the best Big Ten game of the season. Probably a little bit of recency bias regarding that, but 2 of the best teams in the Big Ten, throwing punches back and forth, and just a great game. Obviously need to continue that momentum going into Indiana.
Yeah, would have liked to see the team close it down when they had the chances. Jax had a couple of open threes that he had down the stretch that he missed both. A couple of rebounds would have went our way, would have gone a long way to help seal it. Obviously, Cam Ward's free throw would have been nice to hit, but you were going down the stretch, just like you said, knowing what's happened at Mackey over the past few years. It's just, we had the lead. It started dwindling, just couldn't put it away, couldn't get a bucket. And you're like, not again, but the
Yeah.
defense down the stretch really, really played outstanding.
Clutch.
Minus Carson Cooper's one thing where Braden Smith, I think, lost fears, and then Cooper just kind of stood there and was like, okay, go ahead and shoot this wide open three. But
Yeah, Izzo was not happy. You saw his reaction. I'm like, oh, that's going. And that was even asked on the press conference afterwards about that, where he basically said, you're very observant with that question. And I'm like, yeah, like I saw that. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like that. There's a three. I'm like, it's going to be a 4-point game. Here we go again.
Up into like as soon as Jeremy Fears got stuck behind that screen, I'm just like, oh boy, here we go. And nobody helped out, but that's all right. It worked out well in the end.
Absolutely.
So that's basketball. Like I said, coming down to the stretch, should be a good few weeks here. A good basketball. Excited to see how it turns out. And yeah, that's. I mean, not much more to add on that. I think it's going to be a fun couple weeks. So.
Oh yeah.
We'll turn our attention to hockey and what a run it's been for the Spartan men. I think, last recorded right around the time the Michigan series was happening. MSU, at that point, Michigan was ranked number 1 in the country. MSU was, I believe, 3. But the standings were close enough in the Big Ten to where if you put together a good series, you could really take control because Michigan had played an extra game. Yep. And so you could try to maybe do that. MSU ended up splitting, but the loss they had was in overtime, so you get the extra point from that. And then they won their game in regulation, so that was a big. And then
massive.
Knowing how the rest of the season schedule shook out for us, having Notre Dame and then Ohio State this weekend and Minnesota next weekend. Some of the easier teams in the Big Ten, I know I mentioned it, just because they're the easier teams doesn't mean anything. I mean, Minnesota beat Michigan last night to help our cause. Ohio State's a tough team. They can play well. Thankfully, we get them at Munn this weekend. That's a little bit better. Took care of business against Notre Dame last weekend, winning 4-2 and 8-2. MSU is in the driver's seat. They need, I believe, 5 points remaining out of the four games left. In theory, if you sweep the series this weekend, you can wrap up the Big Ten title already without having to worry about doing anything in Minnesota. Obviously, another Michigan loss somewhere would be helpful.
Penn State's still in the play as well. So
Penn
State watch out for Penn State.
Yep, but if you just take care of your own business, get 2 wins this weekend at Munn, you can wrap everything up. Tonight's game, 8:30 on Big Ten Network, and tomorrow's game, 8 o'clock on Big Ten Network. So both are going to be nationally televised for those who can't make it. If you can, definitely get to the arena because it's going to be a good time. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Exciting games. The team's really been tearing it up of late. Hats off to Trey Augustine's been playing out of his mind, obviously getting a Hobie Baker talk along all the other rewards, Mike Richter, semifinalists, all that stuff. But Gavin O'Connell's playing really well. Porter Martone has been a revelation this season. Charlie Strammel's been an immensely perfect piece. So it's great to see the team fitting the way it is. And just you're closing in on that Big Ten championship. Zach, what are your thoughts last few weeks of games? Michigan series, obviously huge to get that second win.
Oh, yeah.
And then, Ohio State, I believe you're going to be at the game this weekend, or tonight at least. So what are your thoughts with the hockey team and the chance we have to wrap up a Big Ten championship?
Yeah, no, they're playing really, really well right now. You mentioned Porter Martone. He's had a great season. And he's just been doing everything for Michigan State. You mentioned the Notre Dame series. Game 2 at MSU absolutely dominated. That was a super fun game. Game 1, let's just say both of these teams did not like each other. Yeah. Game 1 or Game 2, right? Like, it was a very physical, lot of fighting between both of these teams. Obviously, I have to give Notre Dame a ton of credit for at least putting a ton of effort out there, especially Game 1. Game number 2, it was kind of over in like the second period, third period for the most part. Michigan series was absolutely massive. Needed to figure out a way to get a win in regulation. They absolutely did. They should have won the first game too. Like, if we're being completely honest with each other, they should have won in regulation. We should be able to be talking about a possible clinching the Big Ten if they win tonight. Now, obviously, that's not going to be the case. But if you do what you're supposed to do against Ohio State this weekend, you should be going into Minnesota with the Big Ten, and that would be 3 straight Big Ten championships regular season, which is absolutely incredible. You'll be able to hold off a Penn State team that's gotten hot points. Michigan was hot really early on. This is a really big series. They need to just kind of get a win tonight and then go into a senior night with the possibility of clinching this thing.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And I guess I didn't mention in that description, but the second game of the Michigan series that we did win was the game at LCA for the Duel in the D. So nice to also pick up another trophy with that as well.
Absolutely.
Keep the Iron D trophy at Munn and in East Lansing, so that's always nice. But yeah, it's just been a good run. Adam Nightingale, I you can't say enough good things about how he's turned this program around and what he's done for this program. It's really shined a light on, I think, not only him as how good of a coach he is, but really the whole work USA Hockey has done, because he was taken out of like Shattuck St. Mary's and some of those schools, and then his work with the US NTDP and really with USA Hockey fostering the NTDP and really putting the resources in because of the goal they wanted to be competitive at the world level and try to get back to being a power in hockey like they should. And
Yeah.
we saw that come to fruition with the men's and women's team winning the Olympic golds this year. We've won countless World Junior Championships over the past couple of years, a World Championship last year. So USA Hockey's really dumped a lot of resources, and Adam Nightingale is a really good example of that. Finding
100%.
a coach like that and believing in him, and I'm super happy MSU spotted that, and Alan Heller was able to bring him in because he has completely revitalized this program and set up for another run. So, like I said, 4 more games left. You got Ohio State tonight, tomorrow, and then at Minnesota Thursday and Friday next week. After that, you'll have the Big Ten tournament, and then hopefully some NCAA tournament, and hopefully a run towards that Frozen Four that we've been looking at. Tournament time being around the corner for both hockey and basketball. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Obviously, other sports, you got the Masters coming up, baseball's coming back, all the fun stuff. But it's exciting to see both basketball and hockey starting to look like the teams that we thought they'd be at the right time of the year. So hopefully that can continue.
Yep.
But yeah, any thoughts about anything else? Baseball? Yeah, I know you've been following baseball closely as ever. Good start to the season, but we'll just say that a good start to the season.
Yeah, good first 2 out of 3 games. They played Texas really tough. They had Illinois today. I know it was in the bottom of the 10th, down 1 before we started recording, so I'm sure that game's probably done. Don't know exactly how that game turned out, but overall, really happy with hockey. Really happy with basketball. So good things ahead.
Yep. And yeah, that was a final 5-4 today. Illinois won. They will be back.
Unfortunately.
They will be back Saturday evening to take on Albany. So, but yeah, if you're on campus this weekend, check out the hockey games. Baseball's home tomorrow too, I believe. Could be right.
Baseball's on the road. Baseball's on
are
the
they on
road
the
for a
road?
while.
Yeah, that's true. It's the start of the season. They're always on the road. But
Yep.
yeah, so you got hockey on campus this weekend. And then, during the week, basketball will be back. So check out a game if you can and keep supporting. We really appreciate everybody for following along. Like I said, sorry that the schedule's been kind of hectic. This episode's obviously a little bit shorter too. We didn't really have a lot to go over, but we wanted to at least get you out an episode because it's been a while. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. The engagement on social media has been picking up like crazy. We appreciate it. Obviously, Emmett's been doing a lot of great work and a lot of
absolutely
engaging with the media stuff, and I know you guys are really enjoying that. I know we talked about a lot of the Purdue game last night. If you didn't catch the game, the last possession where Purdue had a shot to potentially tie or win the game, Emmett was able to get, and we have it up on our YouTube page. So if you want to check out that 3.5 seconds or so, feel free. People have been enjoying that, so check that out. But keep following along, keep posting comments, questions, concerns. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back to our hopeful more frequent schedule soon. Anything else you want to add, Zach?
I think I'm good. I think we discussed everything that we needed to. So
all right, spring practice for football will be starting in a couple weeks too, right around St. Patrick's Day. So obviously we'll get you coverage with that. Emmett's going to be heavily involved like always, and then we're getting ever so closer to spring, so fun times ahead. Any questions, anything you want to see on the show, any ideas, obviously contact us social media, comment on YouTube, email us. All of that stuff's going to be in our bios like always. And we'll be back hopefully real soon with another episode and maybe some fun guests in the future. So in the meantime, everybody have a safe few days, some good times, and go green.
Go white.